I want to talk about absolution and unnecessary burdens. Um, there's enough problems in the world. This is from a truthful, religious, true religion, not slavery bullshit religion, not false gods religion, not Luciferian bullshit, Babylonian golden cow worshiping either demons or made up nonsense like Mickey Mouse. This isn't coming from that. This is coming from the good Lord. Okay. Unnecessary burdens were mentioned the other day. A lot of times, first of all, I want you to understand a real burden is like someone's being killed right now and they're getting pulled through, and it's because someone in the background, in the body of Christ is going to absolve it. So when you experience that, you'll feel death blows and symptoms of death, but you'll actually live through it. But you're feeling someone else's. You can do other things for people. There was a place even mentioned that said, like, loosen your bowels, like, basically, like, take a shit for someone else. Like, someone else is in a horrible situation and gonna shit their pants, and, like, you might shit for them somewhere else. You know, think, how could that happen? You'd be surprised if you don't know already, if you haven't had these revelations. The thing is, why I want to talk about closing down all these biolabs, which is in the process. And God said, I am ripping down the beast system and destroying it, tearing it apart. He said, ripping it down and tearing it apart. Brrr. Okay? God's quicker than a drone, you know, and quicker than anything. Alright? He can also do things forward and backwards. He can even do retroactive restorations. But I don't want to get off topic here too much. I want to say why all these biolabs got to close down. Because, like, there's another place that says, like, the earth is absolved by people that are, like, poor and live outside or something. You know, it said the poor absolve the earth. So there's also some people mentioned in his word that some absolve themselves, and they don't put their own things on others. They will absolve themselves. Okay? Others are absolved by Christ, and they're not suffering any of it at all, and the pain is turned down to like zero. It depends on the situation. Who knows what God might do? He can do anything. Remember, Luke said, don't limit God, because God is boundless. Love is God too, and it's love itself. People have to realize how subtle real religion, real spirituality, real truth really is. As Jesus is the truth. God is love. God, he's many things. He's light, he's love. He's also a pine tree. You want to get real crazy with it and talk about the truth, and nobody likes to talk about that. Why don't they mention that in church? By the way, does anybody ever sit there and ponder and wonder and think, how cool is it that God, and strange and weird, is it that God's also a pine tree? And we fruit from him. So we're part pine tree fruit. We're pine cones. Or we're the branches of that bear the pine cones, and so we make the fruit, and we're the branches. He's the main branch. He's the what did he say with the vine? He said, I'm the whatever. He's like the main vine. Like, so if he was like a tree, he'd be like the trunk of the roots, and like we'd be like branches with fruit, like the little branches all hanging off of him. But if you cut us off, technically he's still gonna stay there. And even this, the line of David, when it's cut down as a tree, when it's cut down all the way to the bottom, most trees just die and don't come back. But not this tree. But this tree will spring up new branches. It'll spring up new life. It'll still come back. But what should make it dead and typically kills trees, you would say, well, that's natural. Well, God's supernatural. This is, again, don't limit God. Don't limit God. Because it's not good. Because if you try to put God in a box and lie about God and pretend he can't do things and pretend he's not there and try to say he can't do anything, he might just dick you over on some levels and be like, oh, well, you didn't admit the truth about me. Oh, I can't do that for you. I guess I'll let you suffer. When he let people call on false gods, people that refused to say the truth and they went and worshiped false gods, he said when they got in trouble and they were suffering and needed help and needed to be saved, he said to the angel or whoever was intervening in between, he said, no, no, Just let them call on their gods. There's about the false gods in the Bible. They call themselves the gods, yet they are no gods. They do not save. I am the God that saves. So if you ever get confused about an attribute of God, you know that He saves. He also can't be deceived, so He's the one that knows every single thing about you, things that you don't even tell anyone and no one should know. And He knows about you from even before you were born. So you would know, well, those are some of God's very specific attributes. And He saves. So if something else truly doesn't save and you say, oh, that's not God, that doesn't, God's all fun and free and all kinds of stuff too. He has a great sense of humor. We got to embrace God and learn more about who He is. If we don't know who He really is, we really have to embrace Him more. But I was just saying about the biolab shutting them down. Yes, people should really be about that too, because it is Satanism going on, and it's all terrorism, and it's all nonsense, or they're just trying to make robots out of animals, and that's something the devil does. That's an ungodly, unholy evil. And it's not the first time anyone tried to bind a person or an animal into a machine, and it's never looked on good by God. Jesus said soul sins are worse than flesh sins. Even people doing gross flesh sins, even the bad ones, well, some of the stuff that's gone on in the biolabs, virology, weird biorobotics and brain computing systems and all kinds of different things. Stuff the CIA and the KGB, I heard, got into some of this at some points. But there was a testimony left by, remember Joseph, who was put in the pit by his family, his brothers, and his dad. And then he was sold and he became a higher up in Egypt. Well, he was a good guy, but they just hated him. They hated his goodness. They hated him so much. His family, and then he was sold to the Ishmaelim because they wanted to just kill him. They hated him so much. They wanted to murder him so bad, but they were like, fuck, then we're going to be accountable for it. People would ask questions. They'd get caught. So they sold him into slavery. Even though he wasn't a slave and he wasn't from a family of slaves. They just hated him. Anyway, this stuff should all close down because I see it as unnecessary burden. Okay, there's real things in the whole forest, the whole world, everything. There's things get hurt, things that say something dies. What about the daily thing of God, Jesus' regimen of who's going to absolve what and where the absolution goes and if anyone's absolving anyone else? And, who's paying for that and how much does this go on, But if you're purposely having big factories of commie, satanic terrorists, demon consortium whack jobs, and their alien concubines, and whatever the fuck they had going on, that's gonna be destroyed too, utterly. They're all being exterminated, the demons. The thing is, they got into some of the people's bloodlines, and some people procreated with them. It's like a horrible sin. Remember when people had sex with angels and God punished those angels? Well, this is like on the other end of the spectrum, even worse. Snake fuckers, basically, in spirit. If you saw the motherfuckers for what they were, man, you wouldn't. I'm telling you, don't fuck a snake. Makes sense. There's only one good spider. Jesus says there's one good lion, there's one good spider. So God is the real Spider-Man, and the Lion King. God's the real good lion and spider, but you don't fuck the other spiders. You get it? Because they're fucking spiders. They're fucking disgusting. But God will turn into a super fucking spider aspect of himself and fucking fuck them all over if he has to save you. Remember how far God's willing to save us. Also, sometimes there's been times he's killed entire cities of people just to protect a saint. That time he did with the 100-pound hailstones. Moving a guy to crush the opposing army, and it's just, I gotta get this saint through here, crush a whole army. God's crazy, in a good way. It's a good kind of crazy. Alright. Shut down the biolabs, because again, who wants to sit there and absolve all this sick shit going on all night? Let's just get rid of these fucking people. These people are fucking demonic consortium fucking whack jobs. It's like if Balaamites with the golden cow came in with the CDC death mask and said, hey, we want to take over. Jesus says there is a time to get the guns. walk in peace with the Lord, but as far as military is concerned, to protect a nation and its true origins and its real ways, Christian nation, I don't care what anybody says. This place already is Christian. It is. You think that means nothing, you atheists and scoffers? You snide little... You see what I mean? No, it means much more than you think, and that's why you guys are fucking assholes. Anyway, stop practicing witchcraft, you're all gonna burn in hell. That's where real witches go. Real witches would burn children in cauldrons, and it's mentioned in the Bible. God had commanded some people to go into another village and said, go into that village and kill all of them. Kill them all. And they said, oh, well, why? They were surprised, because generally it's be in peace, don't murder anybody. And that's basically the way God is. But he said, these ones were burning their own children in pots. Cauldrons, pots. How do I know? I was in the children. I'm God, I know. And he came, the Spirit of God came. They had been killing their children in cauldrons. They were such a wicked witch. That's real witches. Real witches do shit like that. And they think disgusting wickedness and evil, just like Satan. They let Satan take their brain over when they want to do shit like that, and they're sick. If they want to see people and children be hurt and defiled and die, people with their rape, snuff porn, dark web, these people are walking a fine fucking line, or they already crossed it. Witches burn in hell if you don't repent of your sorceries, your murders, and your fornications. Remember, Jesus said that. Something, something, something. Look it up if you want to know the rest.